What's going on, guys? Kiger here. Ainz is in the game and he is destroying people. I'm going to walk you through his abilities and do some testing to show you what you need to look out for. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so mine's level 1 because my win team isn't too great. I went for Holy, so a lot of my elements have some issues, minus Fire, which is for PvE generally. But looking at his stats right here, he has a high break, which is good, especially for his abilities we'll see in a minute. But he also has a good tenacity and block, which is good for all game modes, especially PvP. And pretty much the same stats as Albedo that we looked at. The major differences is Albedo had a 660 block. This has no 660 because that's generally a holy stat is 660 or 630, depending on which one. The older ones are 630, the newer ones 660. And Albedo had HP. This one has defense, but it kind of scales. Defense scales pretty well with the Wind Echo itself. That gives you percentage attack and defense. So I think for Wind specifically, defense is better than HP. Basic, nothing special. I always look at it though, because we have a couple fairies that do something special on basic. Passive, very interesting. This was, funnily enough, the first thing I saw when I was taking screenshots and translating for when this initially came out a couple days ago, when it came out on KR Korea. When you swap two Ainz, so from a different group to Ainz, Masters crit, you get crit for 8 seconds, and your damage ignores shields. So that's really important. It's a hard counter to the passive that we saw yesterday for Albedo, but this scales up to 12%. And I mean, that crit rate is nice, right? 12% crit, and then even if you don't care about the crit, you also ignore shields. Priest is everywhere, and that has shields, so it's always going to be relevant. Then we have the ability Fallen Down from the anime. I love this move. Intense heat surge, expands, big damage while casting. This is important because this happens before anyone gets hit. Very similar to Milim, who, if you click the button, they can't move. Very similar to that. Disables enemy effects such as immunity control, super armor, immunity to slow, and control reduction. So control reduction doesn't come up very often. Immune to slow, there's a couple things that do that. Super armor is common. We have Spear has access to super armor. There's some wills and generations that have access to super armor. There's also Gladiator. Whenever you use a Gladiator type skill, it gives you super armor. So you just turn that off. And that means that you can't be knocked up or knocked back. And then immunity control. This is big. Because this specifically, there's almost nothing that does this. But what does do it is the cat companion. So this, you click the button while casting, anyone that would be in the range of the skill, regardless if they dodge, whatnot, they lose access to cat. And that ends up being a big deal for 6 seconds. Increases owner's break by 5%. This is a stat that's hard to come by. A percentage break increase is hard to come by. We have a lot of crit increases, funnily enough, but break is hard to come by for percentage increases. Now, number 2 right here slows enemies' hit by 80%. So they have to be hit for 3 seconds and reduce their healing by 80% for 6 seconds. Both of these only matter if you get hit by the skill. This skill cannot crit. Well, that's unfortunate because he gave you a lot of crit, right? But for every 1% of crit, it converts to break, which then gets converted with that plus 5% from the which also gets that plus 5% on top. If this skill does not crit, which it can't, and is not blocked, so you get that break to try to get over their block, its damage is increased by 150% of base value. They have to build it as base value because they don't want percentage on percentage on percentage. So it's the base number. If the target has a shield, this skill will gain plus 100% break rate. So it does not increase your stat, but your stat plus 100 will be the break that is used on that attack versus their block. And what is funny is you generally don't have to care about it because the if they have a shield from several other classes, even to mention Dragon Roar gives a barrier, Foxglove passive gives a barrier, things like this. Cannon has a barrier. You swap to Ainz, you get the crit, you ignore their shield, you turn your 12% into break, and then assuming the break goes through their block, you have that 150% plus effect right there, and then that all ignores their shield. So you can just kill them without ever dealing damage to their shield. Pretty funny. Remember, there's always a level 2, level 5, and level 8 effect. Level 2 is silence for 2 seconds. Now, this is when hit. This isn't a on-cast silence. I have tested it. Level 5 makes you tankier. You get damage reduction plus 10% and tenacity plus 10% for 6 seconds. This is on-cast trigger. So on cast, they can't use cat, and you get damage reduction and tenacity. Now, this damage reduction, I haven't been able to test this specifically, but there's been an issue lately with some damage reductions not working, but they have been working on it. They should be working correctly. And level 8 is this skill's damage ignores 30% defense and 30% damage reduction of the enemy. So it is a nuke and it's supposed to kill someone. I theory crafted when it was falling down, I thought it was going to be damage based on number of people hit, right? Like it would be this skill can only hit 5 people, and for every -1 person, it dealt more damage. Which I guess in 1v1 that would just be kind of broken, but Now something that's important to note is immediately something that I looked into was Almond Blossom with her Impression Dream. She has 2 things we're going to look at, her passive and her active, because she raises a bunch of questions when we look at Ainz. And this is as a counter to Ainz. When the master is affected by a debuff, grants immunity to that debuff and gives you attack for attack and defense for 6 seconds every 30 seconds. Now I'll show you the testing in a minute, but remember the name Impression Dreams, and that's what we're talking about. Colorful World is also important. We will primarily be talking about Dream Space. Super Armor, Immune Control, 2 of the key words that they say in the Ainz effect. This That was the Ainz is a direct counter to this. But what we care about is dodge plus 60%, and for 6 seconds every time you would get hit, you have a dodge chance. It's that 60%, minus 20% for each, but the level 8 effect is 10% for each. So you can theoretically dodge 6 hits. And every time that you trigger one, you get attack increase. But when we look, this is fallen down, coming down on the person we're watching here. Dream space is active. You see dodge, dodge. This is from what we just read. Dream space right here from Colorful World. Dodge, dodge, dodge. And then we still have the healing debuff, because the ability, we'll look at it in a minute, it hits 8 times. So if all 6, if you are just rolling the dice and you dodge 6 hits, you're still going to get hit by 2 of them. So you're going to have to burn a dodge if you don't want this healing reduction to happen. But a dodge should dodge, 3 or 4 of them at least. And then the dream space could stop you from taking the bad stuff from that. Now, I have some gameplay to show you. This is mine. We're going to be testing the ability, seeing how fast it is, what the range is, how many hits it does. Looking at the basic, it's actually kind of slow for a basic. And then the ability, it's a great looking ability, but it was kind of slow. And then this ring is the affected area. The animation takes up like all of this, like it's directly in the middle. It's only hitting like this ring, and then the affected area looks like it would be like this entire circle, but it's actually relatively small, but it will hit some people at the edges. But boom, 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 61, 61, 61. It's 8 hits. Now I'm going to cast it 2 more times to check out more of the speed and then also the ranges. I think this next one I wait for the cooldown, and then I end up pausing it and then waiting the cooldown so you guys don't have to wait for it. And then basic, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I end up skipping. Yep. So I tried doing it from way out here in the green, and it said too far away. So what I'm doing here is stutter stepping. Take a step, click the button. Doesn't work. Take a step, click the button. Doesn't work. So I'm seeing how far away, and I can't click and control it. It's has to be in the middle. So wherever I end up casting it from, it'll be pointed on him and the range around him. So now, if we look at the picture, this is the range. Right from here, I can cast it, and it will center on the training dummy, and it will hit roughly where my circle is around it. Now, he's busted, not gonna lie to you. He's doing some crazy stuff. What I did test was I wanted to see if the Almond Blossom Impression Dreams, the when you get a debuff, get rid of it, would work against the disable effect, and it does not. But It will stop the slow, but you will get the healing reduction. Even though they're the same ability, they are two different things coming on you. The slow will get stopped, but you will get the healing reduction, assuming you get hit. But the dodge could be a cool kind of counter to Ainz. If everyone's using wind, Almond Blossom can be your counter to opposing Ainz. You blossom their Ainz, and then you come back with your own Ainz. Is kind of what that meta is going to look like. And then I'm getting a lot of messages just like this. Got Ainz to 1 rainbow. People are saying red 3, red 5, rainbow 1, rainbow 3, in that range. Able to jump up and beat water and holy 2 million higher than me. The highest I've seen is a 3.2 punch up, which is really ridiculous. It was 6.7 against 9.8. So that's a steep punch up. Let me know what you guys think. 8.8. Let me know what you guys think down below. They don't generally nerf collaboration units because you already summoned on them. But man, Ainz is looking powerful. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.